Hello, this is a Trinity video. It's been a while since I made one, so I might as well bring the updated facts. Trinity is still really good, except she's just like better now. They buffed pretty much everything across the board for her. Like a baiting link now hits multiple targets instead of just 3, so you could easily armor strip everybody. Her one's more viable as it now allows you to have a immunity status on a death state, which is pretty strong, allowing her to be more flexible in steel path. Energy vampire has been more standardized, although regardless of what happens, they still took her best features for it. And overall, she's a much better frame. They ironed out a lot of the kinks from the fact that she was from the beginning of the game. So you can now more easily justify bringing her along. Energy Vampire is still super strong. I'd argue it's even stronger now because of the amount of spammable abilities Helminth gives. Personally, I like to use Ensnare, Barrage from Hydroid, or Tesla Nervos, because she pretty much can lock down an area and self-sustain herself. So for like this, I use Champion's Blessing. I use Arcane Avenger because who doesn't? And Arcane Acceleration. You got Narrow-Minded, Adaptation, Blind Rage, Primed Flow, Catalyzing Shields because she's an easy to spam self-sustain character. Stretch just to get this back up, so for a baiting link. Champion's Blessing, and a baiting link. Unfortunately, Champion's Blessing is only really good in a multiplayer sense. There used to be an interaction with Mind Control from Nyx where you could deal a ton of damage, mind control them, and then heal them to gain the critical chance. It doesn't work that efficiently anymore unless you're shooting them, then doing it, and then healing them, and then shooting another one, and then repeating the process. And at that rate, it's a little bit tedious. My recommendation, if you have a squad that really likes to bring Necros, just bring Trinity with them. 350% critical chance. It is additive, so it's not going to be like Arcane Avenger levels of good, but it's still going to be good. Barrage is really good. Tempest Barrage from Hydroid, because Viral Tempest combined with the fact that this automatically procs Corrosive means it covers 2 of your bases relatively easy. Again, this doesn't even require that much range as the radius is pretty consistently normal. You're mainly, if you increase or decrease the range, you're mainly affecting the explosion radius. Plus you can call down multiple, meaning she can become extremely strong at armor stripping and sustaining single points. I find Tesla Nervos to be very funny in high level play because while a target has any Nervos attached, the damage dealt to it will be absorbed and then channeled into an 8-meter burst of electricity on death. I tanked a little bit of my duration for this because it is more or less funny, and I use this with Rolling Guard and such. These builds are obviously very flexible, as most of the ones I make are. However, if you do want the funny Tesla Nervos build, it literally just takes the augment. You don't even need that much investment because it just blows up entire rooms. Obviously, if it targets higher HP characters, the better. The main reason I tested Tesla Nervos rather than anything else is because it reminds me of a very specific build Trinity used to have. This explosion that deals a ton of damage is very akin to Marked for Death, and honestly, because it doesn't have to be a single instance of damage, it makes it an extremely strong area clearing, pretty much true damage, as it's dealing the damage you've dealt to the enemy to all of the targets around it. Like you're even seeing here, I'm killing one guy for 526k on a single enemy. This build honestly is really good, kind of a little too much in lower content, like your normal not steel path, but like your normal relic farms. A lot of the time the Nervoses can just kill people, especially if one dies and then it just starts chain reaction blowing them up, which is honestly my favorite part of it. So yeah, Trinity's still super good. I would recommend, if you haven't played her in a little while or you were on the fence about her, give her a try post rework. They fixed a lot of her issues, more or less ironed out her kit. One of my biggest issues that I had was all of her duration stats were super low, and even at like such a high rating for it, Link used to be like 10 seconds, which wasn't really good. Unfortunately, Energy Vampire marked for death no longer works, which is where I came up with the idea of using Tesla Nervos. But quite frankly, it's not that good anyway. It was mainly used for one target only, just to blow them up and hopefully kill everybody around them. But because of how they changed it, that Energy Vampire basically procs multiple times and it doesn't interact with Marked for Death that way anymore. She kind of fell out of favor off of doing that, but I would still recommend it because she has an extremely high damage reduction, and combination with she can run a ton of different subsumables. Tesla Nervos is only one of them. Obviously, Ensnare's really good, and because you can have a little bit of range, even with 79% range, I still have 16 meters of Link. If I go into a Steel Path, Disruption, Relic, anything like that, I will still be getting them through the denial field that the Demolists have. That's what makes this pretty strong. And also, this just lets you tear apart enemies that are super close to you. What's there not to like about that? You got damage redirection, which makes her even stronger. And of course, Blessing can give you 75% damage reduction as well. She's an extremely good tank frame. Just be careful not to overdraw and like be too cocky with status effects or anything like that. Make sure you have Link up. It does not let you take status effects. It just redirects them to the enemies, meaning you get off scot-free. Trinity's probably one of my favorite frames. I wish she was a little bit better. She was like a little bit better sooner. I would have played her more consistently. And also, as frames develop into more combat oriented, leaning very heavily into that kind of play style, especially with Araxia and stuff like that, where a lot of it's damage vulnerability, not armor stripping and such. They relieve that for like Uneru or other abilities like Thero Strike, which is such a good ability. Value like this will diminish into being a niche frame. And while I like her being a niche frame, I also do want people to understand that simply subsuming Tesla Nervos onto a character that can armor strip and self-sustain, it's gotta be one of my favorite genres of frame.